Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. I trust that you are well today. Every day, we are told the same story that the world's fallen apart. The economy is collapsing. Technology is destroying society. Crime is rampant. The planet is doomed. And civilization itself is hanging on by just a thread. So if you listen to cable news, doom scroll through X, or even glance at most headlines, you would think that we are living in the worst moment in human history. But the truth is something that almost nobody is saying out loud. Right now, today, this moment is the best time in human history to be alive. Not perfect, not problem free, but better than any moment that came before it. Now, and this proof isn't emotional, it's not political, it's not ideological, it's historical. Because if you take a step back and look at the long arc of human history, not just today's headlines, the story of humanity over the past 200 years is one of extraordinary progress. Progress in health, progress in technology, progress in knowledge, progress in opportunity, progress in human survival itself. In fact, your great grandparents could see the world, if they could see the world that we live in today, they would believe that we're witnessing a miracle, witchcraft, right? Because for most of human history, life was brutal. Life was short and life was dangerous and uncertain. But today is different. Today, humanity lives longer, eats better, communicates faster, travels farther, and knows more than any generation that came before it. And yet, despite of all the progress, millions of people have been convinced that everything is getting worse. So today, I'm going to take a step back. We're going to ask a very simple question. Is this really the best time in human history to be alive? The answer may surprise you. All right. Let's start with the most basic measure of human progress, life expectancy. For most of human history, life was surprisingly short. In the year 1800, the average human lifespan on Earth was roughly about 30 years. 30. That doesn't mean that everybody died at 30, but it does mean an enormous number of people never made it to adulthood. In many parts of the world, 1 out of every 3 children died before the age of 5. Diseases we barely think about today killed millions. Smallpox, cholera, tuberculosis, typhoid, measles. Plague swept through cities and villages and wiped out entire communities. And doctors had very little understanding of bacteria or viruses. Antibiotics didn't exist. Vaccines were rare. Even simple injuries could end up being deadly. If you got a cut while working in the fields and that cut became infected, that could easily kill you. Childbirth was incredibly dangerous. Many women died and simply bringing children into the world. The past was not romantic. It was deadly. And now fast forward to today. Global life expectancy is now over 73 years. And in developed countries, it's approaching 80 years. Human beings have more than doubled their lifespan in just 2 centuries. Think about that. For thousands of years, human life expectancy barely changed. And in the last 200 years, everything changed. Clean water systems, better sanitation, medical research, vaccines, antibiotics, nutrition, modern hospitals, all of these breakthroughs combined to create the greatest improvement in human survival in history. And most people barely even think about it. Now let's talk about something else that used to define human life: extreme poverty. Not like having two cars and having one of them break down. Extreme poverty. 200 years ago, poverty was not unusual, it was normal. In 1820, more than 90% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty. 90% of the world's population, 90% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty. That meant constant hunger, limited shelter, no access to medicine, no reliable food supply. Most people live their entire lives just trying to survive the next winter. Now, industrialization changed all that. Agriculture became more efficient. Factories increased productivity. Trade expanded across continents. Technology allowed people to produce far more goods with far less labor. And slowly, generation by generation, the world began to change. Today, extreme poverty has dropped to under 10% of the global population. This is one of the most extraordinary transformations in human history. Billions of people who would have lived in poverty just 2 centuries ago now have access to things like electricity, clean water, transportation, medicine, and education. Even many people considered poor in wealthy countries live with conveniences that kings could not have access to in the 1700s. Things like air conditioning, refrigeration, running water, electric lighting, instant communication, mass transportation, modern healthcare. These things were once unimaginable luxuries. And now they're everyday realities. Again, for most of human history, hunger was always just around the corner. A bad harvest could lead to famine. A drought could wipe out crops. A war could destroy food supplies. Entire civilizations were shaped by food shortages. Food riots were common. People migrated in massive waves, simply trying to find places where crops could grow. But agriculture today looks nothing like agriculture 200 years ago. Modern farming uses advanced irrigation, fertilizer, genetic crop improvements, and sophisticated machinery. Farmers today produce more food with fewer people than at any time in human history. In fact, a single American farmer today can produce enough food to feed over 150 people. 200 years ago, our farmer struggled to feed his own family. Today, the global food supply is so incredibly abundant that many countries, the biggest health problem is not starvation. It's the opposite, it's obesity. Now, that doesn't mean that hunger has disappeared everywhere. But the planet's ability to feed billions of people is stronger than ever before. And agriculture continues to improve. All right. Now let's talk about something that we take completely for granted. Technology. If someone from the year 1900 walked into your house today, they would think that they had entered a science fiction movie. They would think that they had entered something, because there were no science fiction movies in the 1900s, but they would think that either was some science fiction thing or complete witchcraft. You carry a device in your pocket, oh, I do, that allows you to communicate instantly with almost anyone on the planet. Let's see. That's insane. I mean, it's insane. Anybody on the planet. Moscow, Paris, Zimbabwe, Antarctica. Wow. That device can access more information than the largest libraries in the world. I can access more on my Pixel 10 Excel Pro than the largest libraries on the planet. I can watch movies. I can read books. I can have books read to me. I can send messages. I can attend meetings. I can order food. I can run a business. I can navigate anywhere on earth using just this. Modern smartphone has more computing power than the computers that guided the Apollo astronauts to the moon. But we know about that. Think about that. I have more computing power here than was on the computers that sent men to the moon and brought them back. That's crazy. That device people used to scroll through media, social media, while sitting on the couch has more power than the technology that carried human beings to another celestial body. Technology has not just changed convenience, it's transformed opportunity. A person can build a business from their home. A teacher can educate students across continents. An artist can share their work with millions of people without needing a traditional publisher. Barriers that once limited human creativity have collapsed. And the pace of innovation is accelerating. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, robotics, energy breakthroughs. The next century may transform life even more dramatically than the last. One of the greatest improvements in human history has happened quietly through medicine. Vaccines alone saved hundreds of millions of lives. Diseases that once terrified entire civilizations are preventable. Smallpox, effectively eradicated. Polio, effectively eradicated. Antibiotics transform deadly infections into manageable illnesses. Heart disease treatments have saved millions, including me. Modern imaging technology allows the doctor to see inside the human body with extraordinary precision. MRI machines, CT scans, ultrasounds. Doctors today can diagnose conditions that earlier generations would have never understood. And surgery? Before anesthesia, surgery meant being fully awake. Before anesthesia, surgery meant being fully awake while doctors operated. Imagine that. Modern medicine has not eliminated suffering, let's not get it twisted, but has dramatically reduced it. And medical science continues to advance every year. We continue. For most of history, knowledge was controlled by small groups of elites. Books were rare. Education was limited on purpose. Libraries were inaccessible to most people, and for the most part, it didn't matter because a lot of people couldn't read. Today, knowledge is everywhere. A teenager with an internet connection can learn computer programming, physics, philosophy, or music theory without ever stepping into a classroom. We talk about this around here all the time. Almost everything, I think, with the exception of medicine, well, surgery, that kind of thing, can be learned about without stepping foot in a classroom. You can learn about physics, all about physics, without stepping foot in the classroom. On the device that you're using right now to watch this, physics. You could learn all there is to know. You could gain enough knowledge to earn a PhD in physics with the device that you are using right now to watch this. History, English, music, you name it. You could. Online courses from major universities are available to anyone. I'm not even saying online courses. I mean, just general knowledge is available. Research papers can be downloaded instantaneously. Tutorials exist for almost any any and every skill imaginable. I needed to replace the piston in this chair. So the chair was good, but it just was too low. And you figure out that, oh, I know the pistons go bad. Where did I find out that information? Here on YouTube. Somebody, more than one somebody, a few somebodies had put together tutorials on what to do. So we watched them, we followed them, and we repaired the chair because we were from that generation. We could have thrown it out, but that's not what we do. If it can be fixed and we can fix it, we fix it. And that was, I don't know, how long ago? Chair, how long ago? 10 years? And it still holds me up. It's amazing. It's strong. It's got to be strong to hold me up. Remember? Not starvation, obesity. Anyway, human knowledge is expanding faster than ever before, and access to that knowledge is spreading across the world. All right. Opportunity has also expanded because for most of human history, where you were determined almost everything about your life. If you were born poor, you stayed poor. If you were born into a certain social class, you rarely escaped it. And economic mobility was extremely limited. But modern economies have created more opportunities than our ancestors could have ever imagined. Entrepreneurship launched companies from their houses. Independent media creators reach global audiences. Innovators can sell products worldwide. Artists can distribute their work directly to millions. Opportunity is no longer limited by geography. In the same way that it once was, the barriers that once trapped people in rigid systems have weakened. Talent, discipline, and creativity have more pathways than ever before. Now, here's something that we're really going to have to think about. It may not feel like it, but historically speaking, humanity is living through one of the least violent periods ever recorded. Now, I know if you doom scroll X and all you see is fighting, it's hard to imagine that that's true, right? It's hard to imagine that's true, but it is. In medieval Europe, homicide rates were often 20 to 50 times higher than they are today. Can you imagine? War was constant. Cities were conquered and destroyed. Massacres common. Empires rose and fell through violence. Today, large-scale global wars between major industrial powers are far less common. International trade and economic independence have created powerful incentives for peace. Violence has not disappeared, but compared to earlier centuries, the world is significantly less deadly. Now, so we have to wonder, why does everybody feel like everything's getting worse? So if the world is objectively better, and I've proven that to you so far, right? Then why do so many people, including you, probably feel the opposite? Now, the answer is unsurprisingly simple. The modern information environment amplifies negativity. News organizations focus on disasters because disasters attract attention. Crime, conflict, scandal, and outrage generates clicks. Social media algorithms reward emotional reactions. Anger spreads faster than gratitude. Fear spreads faster than perspective. The result of this constant stream of negative information that makes the world appear worse than it actually is. But when you step back and look at long-term trends, the evidence tells a very different story. Humanity has made extraordinary progress And I know that, a lot of people want to just throw their hands up, but the world is still worth defending. Recognizing that today is the best time in human history does not mean ignoring problems. There are serious, incredibly serious challenges ahead. We see right here on this channel the political divisions, economic instability, technological disruption, geopolitical conflict, which we've talked about here on this channel. But perspective, friends, perspective matters. The freedoms and institutions that created modern prosperity did not appear by accident. They were built through centuries of innovation, struggle, and sacrifice. Free markets, scientific inquiry, individual liberty, entrepreneurship, human creativity. These forces lifted billions of people out of poverty and created the modern world. And they remain essential to the future. All right. I'm going to let you go here in a second. So the next time someone tells you the world has never been worse, remember this. Human life is longer. Food is more abundant. Technology is more powerful. Medicine is more advanced. Knowledge is more accessible. Opportunity is greater. Violence is lower. Human beings today live in a world that our ancestors could barely imagine. And if we are wise enough to protect the systems that created this progress, the future could be even better. Because despite the noise, because despite the politics, despite the outrage machine, this is still the best time in human history to be alive. My name is William Lawson, and welcome to the Morning Report. And the Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com. And until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, I'll take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.